Okay, welcome one and all to the JimFear podcast, the JimFear138 show thing that I've been doing. I'm so sorry, guys, that I did not upload a podcast last week, as well as for the continued lack of, substantial content on this channel. But I have exciting news that might kind of explain why I've been going dark, and I'm thinking of phasing out the audio dramas and narrations on this channel, at least for the foreseeable future. That doesn't mean that I won't go back to doing them, but I have a new purpose for those things that I would rather direct people towards other than this channel, and it should be ready to go sometime around mid-August. And it's me and my good buddy Dimension Bucket. We're putting this thing together, and I'm going to kind of save the narrations for that. So I've got a lot of stories that I want to narrate. I'm going to go and talk to the authors of the stories that I already got permission to do and be like, hey, me and a friend are putting together this thing. Do you mind if we do your stories for this? But that will be revealed in the fullness of time when we actually get things worked out. I just wanted to kind of let you guys know, the shift in mentality that has happened on my end with regards to putting narrations up on this channel. Now, the audiobooks will continue to happen, because I've got some books that I personally want to read. Like, I really want to get to the Book of Five Rings, and I really want to read The Art of War, and The Manipulated Man, because these are just books that I think that everybody should read at least once in their life. You know what I mean? And having it in audiobook form kind of makes it easier for some people, so it makes it more accessible. It kind of spreads the love around, you know what I'm saying? Hang on, I need some alcohol, regardless of the good mood that I find myself in, curiously enough. Oh, wow. Woohoo! That's good shit. Actually, no, it's not. It's like fucking $30 for 1 3/4 liter. It's not good shit. Usually when I get scotch, I'm drinking like $30 a liter kind of stuff. Like J&B, Justerini and Brooks is my preferred brand of scotch. I've been drinking that shit ever since I first seriously sat down and watched The Thing. And I saw McCready drinking J&B. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to try that shit. And I liked it a lot. And that just became my fucking brand. But I'm trying this out because it was a lot more for the same price. And it does the job. But this shit tastes like ass. Like, J&B is smooth. This stuff has got a bite to it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you're talking about scotch, you want your scotch to be smooth. You know what I mean? Well, now you young kids, you don't know what I mean. But, in other good news, I am finally fucking cleared up in all of the podcasts that I've been meaning to catch up on when my phone was out of commission. And now I'm absolutely fucking clean. I got 4 things in here that I gotta listen to, so I'm about to get back into listening to audiobooks and shit. Speaking of audiobooks, I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you guys about this. My first real audiobook is up for sale on Audible, under my real name and all of that shit, so, I'm trying to go legit and professional with this, so if you guys would go over and check it out, it's Renegades, the Catherine Kimbridge Chronicles, Book 7. It's awesome science fiction, action sci-fi, really good shit. It's kind of short. It's only like 5 3/4 of an hour long. And if you're a member, it's $14. Regular price is $20. So, become a member and go buy that shit. Help me out with my my burgeoning audiobook career here. I'm currently working on the next one in the series, number 8. And the rest of the books are about that price and lower. So if you want to get caught up, it's not all that expensive to listen to this series. If you just want to listen to the one that I did, you don't necessarily need context for everything that's going on, but it kind of helps. I found it interesting because I read the book first, and then I went back and started listening to the others. I think I'm up to like 3 now. But I found it interesting to listen to to read this book out, and then get a hold to who these characters were and start to really enjoy the characters as people, and then go back and listen to the old ones and kind of figure out where they came from. It's like, oh, that's when that happened, kind of thing. So it was kind of neat. It was this little journey of discovery kind of thing. Very, very cool. But yeah, that is up and live at Audible. Also, I have promo codes. And it is a first come, first serve. I've got about, I don't know, let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got like 19 of them left at the time of this recording. When this goes up on YouTube, I might have fewer, because I'm planning on giving these away on my Tumblr and my Twitter. So if you guys are following me over social media, just hit me up, PM me, send me an inbox message or whatever, however the fuck you do it on Twitter. I don't know. I'm still getting the hang of that. But, yeah, hit me up, YouTube, Twitter, preferably something where we can PM, and I can send you the code and the instructions to get the code. And you want to make sure, if you get a code, you're going to want to make sure that you click the box next to 1 credit and click the update button to apply the credit to your purchase. Otherwise, you'll just pay for the book. And I'm not looking to shit you out of a free book when I'm trying to give you a free book. So, yeah, for the first 19 or so people who get in touch with me, you will get a free copy of the book, but you have to get in touch with me. I would prefer over Tumblr or Twitter, because YouTube's messaging system doesn't automatically update you, and I'm absolutely shit with keeping up with my YouTube PMs. So I'm usually on Tumblr in the evenings and Twitter throughout the day, randomly. So just hit me up on those 2 accounts. It's all JimFear138. Just go to the site, look up JimFear138, you'll find me. And yeah, I'll pass you a free code and the instructions to get the book, and you can get you a free audiobook and start your Audible membership today. I know, I'm such a great fucking salesman, aren't I? But seriously, it's a good book. I had a lot of fun reading it. I think that you guys would enjoy it, especially if you're into that kind of action sci-fi stuff. It's very fast-paced. It's got good dialogue. The prose is good shit. It could have used a little bit of refining. Like, the guy's an indie writer, so he's kind of doing all of this himself. But that doesn't necessarily take away from the quality of the book. It's still really good. I had a lot of fun with it, and I think you guys would like it. So get in touch with me for them promo codes, bitches, and I will pass you off one. And I mean, I say bitches in the most respectful of manners. But yeah, speaking of podcasts and listening to stories and shit, I know I've been bitching about Lightspeed for the past, 3 episodes of the fucking podcast, because they kept doing this ridiculous people of color destroy science fiction thing. And they recently finished with it, and the last episode they uploaded was fucking amazing. And I'm gonna actually tell you what this was. So let me Lightspeed. That is not how you spell. I need a new fucking keyboard. Lightspeed magazine. Podcasts. Here we go. These guys are also on Audible. They have their year 1 of podcasts up on Audible too. Sorry if you guys can hear the AC in the background, but it's fucking South Carolina and it's hot and I'm not turning it off. The One Who Isn't. That was it. That was the one that was just, it fucking knocked my socks off, man. Delhi was another good one. I really liked Delhi. If that's the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, The One Who Isn't was great. It was a superb return to form. It was an amazing story. I highly recommend the Lightspeed podcast if you're into listening to short story narrations and stuff like that in audiobook format. Highly recommend checking out Lightspeed. They're back to their really fucking good content. So go look those guys up. But I've been talking about the whole tokenization thing that they've been doing, and how they're not choosing stories based on the quality of the story. They're choosing stories based on just kind of who wrote it. Are you a black trans woman, midget, double amputee with visible scars and you're overweight? Well, we want to read your story on our podcast. And it was really fucking annoying because some of these people just could not write. Or they were using the story not to tell a story, but as a vehicle for their own political ideologies. And there's nothing wrong with writing a story with a political point to it. I've said this before, George Orwell, people like that. If you're good, if you put it in subtly or even blatantly, but you just make it so blatant that it's just fucking undeniable. And, well, see, Orwell did a really good job with something like 1984 because it was so overbearing and horrifying that 1984 is a horror story. It's a really, really good horror story because of the world that he's portraying there. But when you're just like using aliens taking over Mexico, even though I really like that story, using aliens taking over Mexico and them literally building a wall, like a full-on Donald Trump style wall between Mexico and the US to keep the aliens out, which didn't fucking work anyway, either in the story or in real life. But it's just kind of clumsy. And a really, really good example of like the difference between a story written to write a good fucking story and a story written to promote your own political ideology. And I know Bucket is going to be tired of hearing this shit because I bitched about this to him at work today when I was when I was supposed to be on the job. I was listening to this fucking podcast and this story was just so horrible. And I was just like, oh my God, this is awful. What were they thinking? But it was on Pseudopod, which really surprised me because the vast majority of Pseudopod stuff is incredible. It's great. I try to never miss an episode of Pseudopod. They usually have some of the best stories out there. Pseudopod. There we go. Yes, this is it. When was the last one? The Only Ending We Have. That was the story. It was written by Kim Newman. And apparently this is a guy. I did not know that. Like, had I like, sight unseen, not knowing who the guy, not knowing the gender of the person who wrote it, I would have suspected that a woman wrote it. But, and don't, like, look this guy up and send him hate or anything like that. I mean, he's probably a very good writer. This might have just been one of his off stories, you know what I mean? So just kind of cut the guy some slack. But basically, the premise of this story is it takes place in, I want to say the 50s, the real world, 50s. On the set of Psycho, the Hitchcock film. And basically this whole story is just about how much this woman fucking hates men. And I can see a lot of self-loathing in this guy's writing. Like, maybe he's not really like this in real life, but just kind of like looking at the piece that I heard today, it was just like, okay, obviously the writer hates men. Because it was like watching a fucking Lifetime movie. Like, I know I've brought this up before in the podcast, but Lifetime movies are always like, they follow, and I absolutely fucking hate this story style. Woman is in a bad situation and is trying to escape. Bad situation is often caused directly or indirectly by men, and men get blamed for it either way. All other women in this bad situation with her are either complicit in the bad situation or are cowards. So they're either traitors or just too scared to do anything about it. Woman tries to escape. Woman has bad adventure where she becomes strong, female character kind of shit, if you can even say that, really more of Mary Sue. Not necessarily in this case, because the character actually did have some serious trauma that she had to get over. But the key thing in these Lifetime movie-style stories is that every single man in the story is an irredeemable piece of shit. Completely. Without exception. All of them are irredeemable pieces of shit. They are just absolutely evil. It's not like, I get the feeling that people who read or write stories like this think that, like, the incredibly vast amount of science fiction and fantasy stories are like the Gore novels, the G-O-R novels, Gore. Kind of like how Tor is spelled, but it's Gore. And in those novels, this guy gets transported to this alternate world where there's a literal battle of the sexes going on. And he takes up with the men, because of course the women won't have him. And over the course of these novels, he just turns into a complete and total misogynist. Like I don't like to throw around the word misogyny lightly. from what I've heard of these novels, I actually have a couple. I haven't read them yet because I don't have the first one in the series, and I like to start from the beginning. But in these novels, the dude becomes a misogynist. Like, women are cattle, and they are, like, rape is just okie dandy. And it's just, yeah, like, the gore novels are pretty fucked up from what I hear. But the people who write these stories, I imagine that they think that the entirety of speculative fiction is exactly like the gore novels. And women are just, like, shat on the entire fucking time, which I could name you, I don't know, probably dozens. If you give me enough time, I could name dozens of novels and short stories in the speculative fiction, which is basically horror, science fiction, and fantasy genre that are just have plenty of strong female. I mean, just look at the Dragonlance novels, for God's sake. Those are wildly popular fantasy novels. And, you know, several of the main characters are not just strong women, but well-rounded, well-fleshed-out characters. They're not just there for the aggrandizement of the men. They don't get fridged, and none of that shit happens. Like, it's not like that. You know what I mean? But basically, like, the plot, if you want to go and listen to the story, fine. But if you don't, I'll just break it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not all that good. Like I said, it's about... Let me see if I can find out how long this one is for you before you actually go and... It's 1 hour and 9 minutes. So I wasted 1 hour and 9.5 minutes of my life on this story. But yeah, this chick is kind of the body double for the main character lady from the Psycho movie by Hitchcock. And they were taking shots at Hitchcock, like making Hitchcock out to be a fucking raging misogynist and like sexually harassing his female actresses, his actresses, and having all of these murderous psychosexual fantasies that he liked to live out on screen because he couldn't actually get put away from it. You know, he would fuck with people on screen, or on set, rather. And it was just so fucking hard to listen to. And I was just waiting for it. And then right there at the... Like, this has the worst ending I've heard in months. The worst ending. It's like, if you've ever watched Clerks, I'll bet you don't know the way that movie originally ended. Originally, the movie Clerks ended with Randall walking out of the convenience store and some guy walking in and robbing the store and just killing Dante. Just shot him dead in the chest. And he took that cut of the movie to someone he knew who actually made movies. I don't remember if it was like a film professor or what. But he was like, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? You can't just kill your main character because you don't know how to end your movie. End it a different way. That's wrong. You have this lighthearted comedy, you know, semi-serious movie, this semi-serious drama comedy. Dramedy? I don't know. Thing going on, and then you just kill the main character at the end of it. You can't end your movie like that. So then he went and he did the ending that got put out in, you know, the version of the movie that you will see now. Usually if you buy like a DVD with special features, it'll have the original ending somewhere on it. So you can actually see what happened. But that was what this ending felt like. Because she steals the negative of the movie, of the Psycho movie. Wastes months and months of everybody's life and time. And she runs off with it, and she goes and finds this hotel. And the guy at the hotel tries to get her to kill his mother. And then she winds up trying to choke him to death with the negatives of the film, which I don't know if film negative is that sturdy. I don't know if you can, like, get a garrote with it. You know, if anybody out there has tried to, you know, strangle somebody with a film negative, then let me know if it worked. Because I'm actually kind of curious about that, if you could get a good strangle in with a film negative. And then, like, it just fucking ends. And there's no resolution. There's no, like, continuation of the story. You don't find out what happens. You don't find out if she gets caught and punished. You know, but this is obvious. And honestly, like, now that I think about it, this could be the author kind of making a statement about how disgusting the mindset, I would say pathological mindset of the woman who just absolutely ragingly hates men is. Because this woman hated Hitchcock so much in this story. Now, all of this is fiction so far as I know. I have never heard of any stories of Alfred Hitchcock doing any kind of the things described in this story, so I can't speak to that. All I can speak to is what I heard in the story. But every time she meets a man in this story, she superimposes Hitchcock on him and immediately hates that man because they are the same sex, essentially. Like, she views all men as having that capacity within them that Hitch had. And it's just a really disgusting mindset that she displays. And then, at the very end of the story, near the end of the story, she's talking to the guy who owns the hotel with his mother, who wants her to kill his mother. And he asks her, is there anyone that you want dead? And she immediately thinks, men, Hitch. And then covers it up with, oh, no, not really. I don't really want anybody dead. I'm not that type of person, kind of thing. But then I had to pause the story, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, there we go. There it is. There it is. But now that I'm actually thinking about it and reasoning about it out loud, that might be a vehicle for showing how disgusting that mindset is. Because it really didn't portray it in a great light. And you could take it as, oh yeah, empowered woman getting back at to men's for being to sexism. But you don't have to. And either reading is plausible. So I just immediately assumed that was what he was going for, which I guess that, that's what they say about assumptions. Makes an ass out of you and me. But, well, I mean, I've heard so many stories like this that are just basically revenge porn for women. Get back at the entire male gender, because feminism has that whole, all men are culpable collective punishment thing going on. So, killing a random man is just as good as killing the man who raped you, because they're both men, right? Which, you substitute men for any other demographic. And that, like, killing the Jew that took your money, or killing a random Jew, instead of the Jew that took your money, is just as good as killing the Jew that took your money, because he's just a Jew. He's another Jew. He's just as guilty as the other Jew is, right? I mean, it's this disgusting mindset that really fucking bothers me about feminism, and that's part of why I dislike that movement so much. But, like I say, it could be read either way now that I think about it, but it just, on the whole, looking at it from purely, like, putting that aside and just looking at it as a story, it wasn't a good horror story. It wasn't scary. It was kind of disgusting. Like, the shit that Hitch kept saying, and it's all told from the woman's perspective, and, everything like that, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's being nasty and creepy, but he's not dangerous. This is your job. Suck it the fuck up or quit. You can do that. You're allowed to quit. Didn't Psycho come out in the 60s? Maybe this took place in the early 60s. I want to say that it came out in the 60s. So, I gotta look this up or it's gonna fucking bother me. I have these random thoughts. My brain won't fucking leave me alone. Psycho film. 1960. So yeah, this would take place in the 50s. If it came out in the 60s, then they were filming in the 50s. So yeah, late 50s. But so it wasn't really a good story altogether. And what little horror there was how justifiably terrified this woman was of Hitchcock in the story. Like, none of this, so far as I know, none of this ever happened. Not even the way that Hitchcock is portrayed. They could just be taking pot shots at him because they don't like that he's a better horror, content producer than they are. That he's the master and they're the apprentice and they want to bring the master down. I don't fucking know. But some people get big heads like that and they just can't fucking handle dead people being better than they are at something. But going back to the horror thing. The only real horror in the story was the way that Hitchcock treated her and the other women on the set. And the way that she kind of transposed Hitchcock onto literally every single man in the story. Literally all of them. That's the literal use of literally. The actual use of literally all of them. Every single man in the story gets compared to Hitch in a very unflattering way. So it kind of bothered me, making all the men out to be evil, rapacious monsters. Like, he couldn't find one guy who was kind of alright, I don't know. It just kind of sucked. And the ending was just so horrible. Like, I was fucking so angry at that ending. It was a complete waste of time. It was a complete waste of time, and I just kept listening to it because it's like, okay, this might pick up. It might be better. Let's see where it goes. But as a counterpoint to that, I can't remember where I heard. I might have actually heard it on the Pseudopod thing. But I started listening to this podcast called Strange Horizons. And they do the exact same thing that Pseudopod and Lightspeed and, Nightmare and Podcastle and Escape Pod do. Where they get speculative fiction stories and they get them narrated. So I just downloaded the first episode that came up for me, which was called Water, Birch, and Blood by Sarah Norja. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that author, that narrator. Read by Anea Lay. I really hope I pronounced that first name right. If I didn't, I'm sorry, but it's Anaea. Lay is the narrator's name. And that story is amazing. That is how you fucking do your, gay people inside. Because I started up the podcast, right? And I immediately, they were like, okay, so today is, like, we're doing our queer world thing, or whatever the fuck they call it. I would probably know if I listened to more episodes, but I only listened to the one. And they didn't really get deep into it, but they were doing this thing about, like, queer writing in speculative fiction. And I was like, all right, whatever. Maybe there'll be a good story in here somewhere. Like that one that Lightspeed did. I'll fucking find it. Salto Mortal. That was a really good story. That was the one about the aliens in Mexico and the wall and everything. It was kind of a clumsy metaphor, but it wasn't a bad story. But yeah, Water, Birch, and Blood, or Water, Blood, and Birch, some combination of that. I just said it right. Like, go back and listen. They came up and they were doing, okay, we're doing this queer writers in speculative fiction thing, and I was like, oh god, here we fucking go again. But the story turned out to be really fucking good. Like, the main character was gay. That was it. And it was just kind of a passing thing. Like, it wasn't something that's, oh, their gayness defines them, and this was, their biggest moment in their life was finding out that they were gay, and hey, look at how gay they are, and they're gay! Isn't that awesome? They're fucking homosexual! This chick likes to lick pussy! How fucking awesome is that? And I mean, from a porn perspective, yeah, I can get where you're coming from. But so far as, like, everyday life goes, your sexuality isn't your defining fucking characteristic. Like, I'm bisexual. I don't look at every single person, who meets me, and it's like, hi, I like dick and pussy. It doesn't fucking work like that. And this story is a great example of how to do that right. Because it was just like, I'm gay, this is my wife, now let's get on with the story. And that was it. And they were like going on a camping retreat to a family lake house or something. And the main character chick, had been at that lake when she was a little girl, and she got transported into this other world where she fought a troll king to help the bear queen reclaim her. It was just it's such a cool backdrop. And they didn't get into a lot of story because the story takes place like years afterwards. It takes place kind of like in the present. All that happened in the past. Sorry about that. They don't get into a lot of detail about what happened. It's just like, because her memories got fucked up by birds. Because of course it would be fucking birds. And the whole point of the story was her remembering this wonderful magical thing that happened to her. And it culminates with the Bear Queen, with her remembering something that the Bear Queen told her, which was, magic is scarce in your world, but it's abundant here, so you're going to have to go back and find what magic you can in your world. And then the whole point of that was, like, the Bear Queen was dying, and she was trying to get back to that world so she could say goodbye to her friend. And then she didn't make it, and she realized that the magic that she has now is her family, her wife and their son. And it was such an amazing story, and it was so well told. And it just like, okay, so the gayness isn't the thing here. Love is the thing. Love is the point of this story. Love is magic is basically, like, if you want to boil it down to 3 words, love is magic is kind of the overarching theme of that story. But go check that one out, guys. It was fucking amazing. And that's how you fucking do the, I want to put a gay character into a story. You don't make it, oh my god, they're gay. Isn't it wonderful that they're gay? It's awesome that they're gay, right? You like gays? Everybody likes gays, right? Gay people are just regular people. They're not fucking special. Their stories are human stories, so you don't need to accentuate the gayness to get your point across, right? You just need to tell a good fucking story, and if the character's gay, so fucking what? If someone gets turned off by a minor feature of this book or this character is that they're gay, and then the whole rest of the story happens, and then it just occasionally comes up that they're gay and they like women or men or whatever, fine, whatever. It's like this, the story, Sing by Barnabas Demos, which go look up Barney's version of Sing. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that in the fucking description. Go check out Barney's Sing. Because the main character in that story is gay, and the romance features heavily in the story, but the point of that story is not that the character is gay. There's a whole other, like, you could take any character, any 2 characters, any relationship dynamic, and put them in that situation, and it would be the exact same story. And it's fucking beautiful. Barney is such a good writer. He is such a good writer. And he's a really good narrator too. Like, if you're not, subscribed to Barnabas Demos and watching all of his content, then what the fuck is wrong with you? Have you been living under a rock for the past 4 years? Go listen to Barney. But yeah, that's a really good example of how to put gays in your story without ruining it for the sake of gayness, right? Okay, now... Now that I got that out of my fucking system, there was some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. And I was thinking about it, and Aaron Clary really is fucking right when he says that smartphones are the savior of the self-employed and the working person. Because now I can be at work and thinking about, I should talk about this on my podcast. And I just I just pull up my fucking iPhone, go into my notes, podcast topics, and then I just sit there and just type in a note, boom, 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 boom. And then I have fucking topics. Now, I wasn't intending on going that deep into that thing. I wasn't planning on taking up like 20, 30 minutes with it. But it wound up happening that way, and that's perfectly fine, because I had a lot to say. I might have talked in circles, but whatever. But, yeah, another podcast that I kind of wanted to talk about, just because it's so weird to me, is Within the Wires. Now, if you listen to Welcome to Night Vale, you probably already know about this one, but if you don't, is it Jeffrey Fink and Jason Craner? God damn it, now I gotta go look this up too. I'm trying to figure out who fucking, I'll just go to the goddamn, there's gotta be a Wikipedia page. There's gotta be. Yeah, here we go, Wikipedia page. Okay. Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. All right, now, Night Vale is their combined, they write Night Vale, right? Well, Alice Isn't Dead is Joseph Fink's thing. He writes that. And he gets, I think her name is Jessica Nicole, to narrate it. And Jessica does an awesome job with that shit. She's a brilliant voice actor. You should all go listen to Alice Isn't Dead. That was one of those, like, reach out and fucking grab you stories right there. It was just, like, the first episode I listened to, I was just like, holy shit, this is the best fucking thing ever. And that's another example of how to do gays in fiction without making it all about the gayness. Because it's this woman who's traveling across America. She works for a trucking company. And she gets into all of this weird, creepy, spooky horror shit looking for her wife who has disappeared. And it's fucking brilliant. Now, Within the Wires is Jeffrey Craner's thing. And listening to those two podcasts, you can start, like, I imagine that if you listen to enough of Alice Isn't Dead and Within the Wires, you can go back and listen to Night Vale and be like, that was Fink, that was Craner. And just, like, be able to pick it out. It's kind of like if you listen to the Allman Brothers for long enough and you get, like, watching enough live shit from their old stuff back in, like, the 60s. You can actually listen to their albums and tell who's playing which guitar lick. whether it's, I want to say it was Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman. You're able to pick out Dwayne Allman. Yeah, Dickie Betts was the guitarist. Barry Oakley, that was who I was thinking of, did the bass. Barry Oakley was the bassist. But yeah, if you listen to him long enough, you'll be able to pick out, when it's Dickie Betts and when it's Dwayne Allman. I used to be able to do that shit on point. I haven't been able to do it recently because I stopped listening to the Allman Brothers for the longest fucking time. But I get the feeling that if you listen to enough Alice Isn't Dead and Within the Wires, you'll be able to go back and listen to Night Vale and pick out who wrote what. But Within the Wires is weird. Like, it's like absurdist literature. Because it's about... it's not really about anything, that near as I can tell, yet. It's only had like 2 episodes. Hang on, I can look it up and actually tell you. Yeah, here we go. Within the Wires. Yeah, they only have 2 episodes out. It's presented in the format of relaxation cassette tapes, where this person leads you through relaxation exercises. And they generally start to get weirder. Not generally. It kind of, like you start this podcast, it takes an immediate left turn, and then ventures off into Loontown, and never comes back. And that's kind of the magic, But it's really, really hard to grasp, because it flows like stream of consciousness. It's like absurdist stream of consciousness literature. And you can't really get a good handle on the story or what's going on. Now, in the second episode, he starts to get a little bit more detailed into the world of the person that's listening to these relaxation tapes. And the narrator on the relaxation tapes is like dropping hints and giving them facts about the mental facility, essentially, that they're in. It's just really, really fucking weird. I'm really not sure how to describe it. Like, it's one of those things that you just gotta go listen to. But it's gonna take you more than 1 episode to get into it. It's a slow burn kind of thing. You have to be willing to sit there and kind of put up with the style. But it's not bad. It's not bad. I've listened to bad fiction. I've listened to bad podcasts. Within the Wires isn't bad. I'm just on the fence about whether or not it's good. Because it has the potential to be fucking brilliant. It has the potential to be a work of genius. I'm just not sure yet. It depends on how it develops. But that's another one that I would recommend you guys go check out, is Within the Wires. That one's given me stuff to think about. Over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, go look up Within the Wires, guys. Let me see. There was another thing. I need to stop putting my fucking phone down, because that's where all my goddamn notes are at. Let me see here. I had a couple of other topics that I wanted to get into. Okay. Apparently, Marvel has been doing... they've been fucking up again. I'm just going to go ahead and go to YouTube and look up Raging Golden Eagle, because Raging Golden Eagle did a video of this. Yeah, he has a video called Marvel's Readership Dropping Like Flies. What could possibly be causing this? Yeah. I would recommend going and watching his video, because you'll kind of get where I'm coming from. But guys, I really think it's time to let Marvel Comics die. Aaron Clary talked about this in a recent podcast, too. I think it was the one from a couple of weeks ago, as of this recording. It definitely wasn't the last, or was it the last one? It might have been. I think it was the 2-hour one. The recent 2-hour one. Usually he only goes about what I do, about an hour or so. A little over, a little under sometimes, but usually it's about an hour. And he talks about all the shit that's going on in Marvel, and what percentage, like, because they got bought out by Disney. So they're like, okay, what percentage of Disney's revenue is Marvel? And Clary did some quick and dirty math and basically came up with this, like, their 0.02% or 0.2%, something like that, of Disney's gross income is the comics division. Just the comics division. I think the way he did it was he found out how much Marvel Comics made in the last year, and then how much Disney made in the last year, and then just, like, got the percentage out of those two numbers, which, I mean, I guess that's fair. I don't really see anything wrong with that methodology. But it's really, like, I kind of get the feeling that Disney is trying to kill Marvel Comics because comics aren't a growth industry right now. Like, they're kind of going out of style. They're not really a lot of people are buying comics anymore. So I really get the feeling that Disney is getting Marvel to hand off, like, beloved titles and characters over to complete wackadoos, complete fucking insane people to kill their comics industry. Just so they can concentrate on doing the movies, and then they can do whatever the fuck they want with the movies. And they don't have to worry about the comic schedule that's coming out whenever the fuck it comes out. And I really think that we should just let Marvel die. Like, obviously, they don't give a fuck about their fans anymore. They don't give a fuck about their readers. They don't give a fuck about these beloved franchises that we all grew up with and we all love dearly. It's just time to let them die, guys. It's time to get rid of them. Let's take them out back behind the fucking chemical shed and just shoot them. Like this, let's V for Vendetta. Let's just take them out back, put a bullet in their head, mass grave. You know, we know, as much as I love Marvel here, like, Marvel was my introduction into comics. I've been a Marvel fan my entire life, so it's really hard for me to say this. But I think it really is time for us to just let Marvel fucking die, guys. They're not doing anything good with their comics anymore. Well, apart from, like, the new Daredevil and a couple other things. I still have yet to read the new Doctor Strange. I got, like, the first 4 or 6 issues or whatever. But, yeah, it's time to let them go. They don't care. They're demonstrably fucking up. One would think on purpose, given how this whole thing has gone for the past couple of years. They're tracing memes for their comic art book and expecting to be taken seriously. Apparently, they also literally just, like, blatantly plagiarized, jacked, Tau and Eldar weaponry for one of their comics from Warhammer 40k, the Tau and the Eldar. Apparently they just jacked technology from them and just, like, literally put it into their fucking comic books and didn't change a goddamn thing. They're trying to die. Marvel is that old person, right? That old person who's still caught... Actually, perfect example. You guys remember that episode of South Park from the first season, the very first season, where Stan's grandpa, the old dude in the... Billy! That guy. Billy! Is trying to kill himself, and he's getting pissed off at Death because Death won't take him. Like, they tried to drop a cow on him, and he's, like, playing with a fork and an outlet and, you know, trying to electrocute himself and shit. That's Marvel right now. They're the old person who's completely lost control of their faculties. They're pooping their pants a lot. You know, they just can't kill themselves because they don't have the required arm strength to hold the gun anymore. They're atrophied so bad. So I think it's just time for us to just kill Marvel, guys. Let's just let them die. Let's just put them out to pasture. You know, use the body for firelighters. Let's all move over to, like, IDW. Because IDW is really good. I like a lot of IDW comics. I think I have yet to pick up an IDW comic series that I didn't absolutely love. So, I recommend IDW. Just move over to Dark Horse. Anything but Marvel and DC. They're dying. They've been around for almost as long as my grandmother. And it's about time for them to die. I mean, with all of the shit going on, can you explain that any other way? Can you explain the blatant fucking of their business model? The blatant and demonstrable guerrilla fucking of their business model. The absolute blatant disregard that they show to fans. In everything except the movies. Everything, well, and the TV shows. TV shows are pretty good, too. It's time to let them go, guys. That's all I can really say about that. Just, like, you can make your own conclusions. Just go watch Raging Golden Eagle's video. I'll put that in the description as well. And if I can find that episode of Clary's podcast, then I'll put that down there, too. Because... like, they make good points. They make really good, valid points. And I really do think it is time. It is time. Let's see, what else can I yammer on about? So Pokemon Go is a thing. Yes, I've been playing it. Well, off and on. I don't really get a lot of time. Like, a lot of people were out there like, oh, I've got so much free time, I'm just gonna go play Pokemon. And I'm sitting here at work like, fuck you! You bastards! How dare you go out and enjoy the new Pokemon game when I'm stuck in this warehouse? But last night, as of this recording, I think it was Wednesday night, I actually finally went out and got active for Pokemon Go. I was sitting on my bed, and I pulled up the little radar thing, and there was an Abra running around. And Abra is one of my favorite Pokemon, like, especially Abra, Kadabra, Alakazam, that little evolution triad right there. Like, psychic types are my favorite, or are my absolute favorite. My fucking Delphox was unstoppable in X and Y. I was you got a fire psychic type. Yes, that's my baby right there, and don't you ever talk bad about my baby, or I'll let her, like, crush you into the size of one of those little bricks that they turn cars into at the junkyard. And all of the Pokemon in Pokemon Go are Gen 1. So I've been having kind of, like, it's been really nostalgic for me. You know, I grew up with that shit. I still have my red version around here somewhere. But yeah, I went out to get an Abra, and I was walking around my neighborhood, and I was kind of enjoying myself. It was fun to get up and get active and shit. I wish I'd had better shoes. I need to buy a pair of sneakers if I'm going to be doing this more often. But, you know, I didn't find the Abra, but I did find a Scyther. And this morning, while I was just kind of dicking around before my shift at work, I caught a Pinsir. That was cool. So I already got two of the pretty kind of rare ones that are kind of hard to find. I just wish they would fix the game fucking freezing. Because it freezes all the fucking time. And half the time there's no way to tell that the game is frozen. It's just frozen. Like, I was up in town today and I just opened it up while I was in line at Sonic. And there weren't any fucking Pokestops around. It's just like, what the fuck? This area was full, you know, last time I came through. Where the hell are all the Pokestops? There was a gym over there. Where the fuck's the gym? So then I had to restart my whole fucking phone to reboot the fucking app, and lo and behold, there they were. My fucking game had frozen. That's some shit that they need to fix. This game freezes almost as much as it works properly. So, I would prefer if Niantic got that fixed, or Niantic, or however the fuck you pronounce that name. It'd be nice if they repaired that. But more importantly, this game could single-handedly stamp out childhood obesity. And that alone, I think, is worth all of the retardation that's been happening and inevitably going to happen more and more often as time goes on due to this game. Like, people are out there, they're getting active, they're being social, it's, you know, getting kids out and having fun, and it's fucking Pokemon. Who doesn't love Pokemon? Maybe I'm a special case because I grew up with that shit, but, you know, I totally understand why some people get excited about this. I was excited about it too when I first heard about it. It's like, oh shit, Pokemon's about to try to get us to go outside again. And it fucking worked. It got my fat ass walking around the block. And given the last conversation I had with my doctor, that's probably a good thing. Like I said, I need to pick up a pair of sneakers so that I can do that shit more often. That would be a good kind of fun thing to do every night. I also have this app that I've been meaning to re-download called Zombies Run. Let me see if I can actually get to it right now. Zombies Run. There we go. And basically, it's this running app that says get fit, escape zombies, become a hero, collect supplies as you move, build and defend your base, walk, jog, or run. It's up to you. Mix your music and our thrilling story. 200 plus action-packed missions, a new story every run, a world-class fitness app and website, free cloud backup included. Join 3 million runners on an epic adventure. You tie your shoes, put on your headphones, you take your first steps outside. You barely covered 100 yards when you hear them. They must be close. You can hear every guttural breath, every rattling groan. They're everywhere. Zombies. There's only one thing you can do. Run. Zombies Run is an ultra-immersive running game and audio adventure created with award-winning novelist Naomi Alderman. I think I've heard of her before. Every run becomes a mission where you're the hero with our immense, immersive audio drama, putting you at the center of your very own zombie adventure story. While you run to the perfect mix of heart-pumping audio drama and pulse-pounding songs from your own playlist, you'll collect new supplies to grow your base back home. works anywhere and at any speed, so I might get into that too, just to try and get fit, because like I say, the last conversation I had with my doctor didn't go well, and I need to lose some fucking weight. So shit like Pokemon Go and Zombies Run might be a good way to interest my fat ass into getting outside and hopping around the block a couple of times a night. Like I say, I just need some I just need some weeks where I'm not working overtime and dying from exhaustion. Because that's been another factor in this whole, like, lack of content here, is I've just, like, we're overworked and understaffed at the job, and I've just been so fucking tired that I get home and I immediately fall the fuck asleep. Just go to bed. I would be doing that right now if I didn't, you know, have shit to do for tomorrow. But yeah, I think I've about run out of steam here. So that's the podcast, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm sorry I didn't get to you last week, but I will continue doing this for the foreseeable future. And if you would all do me a favor and go check out Renegades, the Catherine Kimbridge Chronicles #7, you can get that over at Audible. Links will be in the description. You would be doing me a big favor. And if you guys wouldn't mind sharing it around and writing reviews on Audible, that would be a really big help. If you like the book, if you didn't like the book, whatever, write the reviews. Tell people about it. Spread it around on your social media accounts, because chances are you guys have a bigger reach than I do. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people you don't even like. I'll do anything for money. But no, in all seriousness, I am trying to make a career out of doing audiobooks and producing audio dramas and stuff like that. It's my dream job. It's what I really fucking want to do with my life, and you guys would be helping me out a lot if you would go and check it out and maybe think about picking it up. You know, just think about it. You know, plant the seed in your head. Take a look. Listen to the retail audio sample that they have up there. And don't forget, I do have promo codes for it, so you can get it for free if you're one of those 19 people that actually gets a hold of me and gets a promo code for it, which I'm also going to be giving those away on my Tumblr and my Twitter. So if you guys follow me over there, then you'll know. You won't even have to listen to the podcast to get that info. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for listening. It's been fun. I'll catch y'all next week. Peace out.